A year ago, chaos broke out in Bayside Marketplace, and the truth was never revealed. But now the situation got worse. Military detaining aliens, UFOs scanning American neighborhoods, and footage CIA is currently trying to redact.
They were shorter than me. I'd say about 5'2" or 3.
This is what they're trying to bury. An old clip from the 1990s resurfaced, showing what appeared to be a private interaction inside a restricted United States base. The footage was grainy, but clear enough to reveal a non-human figure seated across from a man. The being looked aged and exhausted. Its skin was hairless, marked with faint spots, and its dark eyes stayed fixed forward. The two appeared to be communicating, though no audio explained what was being said. With a lack of information and no audio, the footage remains mysterious. Preserved specimen. Footage dated to 1978 later reappeared, showing a small, non-human being sealed inside a glass container deep underground. The bottle was filled with chemical fluid designed to preserve the body for long-term study. The figure inside was gray, with large eyes and thin limbs. Its skin appeared worn, as if the liquid had begun reacting with it over time. According to the footage, researchers returned daily, studying the specimen closely, hoping to learn where it came from and what it might contain. Specialists referenced in the clip suggested the chemicals were chosen to preserve internal structures, possibly including genetic material. If true, the implication was clear. This was not a display. It was evidence being stored, analyzed, and kept for secretive purposes. The Pasigula abduction.
Last October, in the quiet Mississippi town of Pasigula, two local men confronted authorities with a rather bizarre story. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker told of a strange craft landing near their fishing site and of being taken aboard by three unearthly creatures.
In Pasigula, two fishermen experienced a night that never left them. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were fishing quietly when a glowing craft drifted down nearby, its blue lights pulsing in a controlled, almost deliberate way. Moments later, three strange beings emerged, lifting the men into the craft and subjecting them to what felt like examinations or scans.
It was some kind of craft, it looked like it's going to come right onto the ground. But it came on down and hovered about a foot and a half or 2 feet off of the ground. The blue light, it had blue flashing lights as it was, approaching the ground, but then they went out, and when the opening appeared, some source of light came from the inside. It was just almost blinding.
Afterward, the men told their story again and again. Lie detector tests, hypnosis sessions, and formal investigations followed, yet their accounts never changed. Investigators concluded that based on the evidence and tests, these fishermen were not lying at all.
In my opinion, believe that they saw this.
Montana visitors. In 2012, a family in Montana experienced a strange event late at night. A man stepped outside after hearing unusual noises near his home and recorded two thin, pale figures dressed in neat suits walking quietly across the yard. When the man tried to approach, the figures vanished, leaving the area completely silent, which made the sighting even more shocking. Captured being. Footage from Brazil introduced a scenario few people expected to see. Soldiers were shown escorting a tall, slim, alien-like being as if it were under arrest. The figure was dressed like a prisoner and walked calmly alongside them, showing no visible resistance or confusion. Its posture was relaxed, almost unsettlingly so, as if being detained was not unusual to it. The way the soldiers handled the situation suggested procedure, not panic. Watching the clip raised a single uncomfortable realization. If this was real, then non-human beings are not just being encountered, they are being controlled. Austin docking. In Austin, witnesses recorded a UFO hanging completely motionless in the sky. It did not drift, wobble, or react to wind. It simply stayed there, frozen in place. Then, without any visible movement, it vanished entirely. Seconds later, the same object reappeared in the exact position. This time, two smaller versions of the same shape emerged behind it. The smaller crafts moved slowly and deliberately, closing the distance until they merged directly into the larger object, as if docking. Whatever was happening above Austin was not a false flag. Forest entity detainment. In 2008, a military patrol moving through a heavily wooded area encountered a lone figure that immediately stood out. The being was slender, walked upright, and had dark eyes that did not reflect light like a normal animal's. Its head showed unusual markings, not injuries, but decay. It did not attempt to flee, nor did it behave like wildlife. The officers restrained it as a precaution, securing its hands and lowering it to the ground. There was hesitation in their actions, since they weren't sure if the figure was dangerous. The decision was made to transport it back to base for evaluation, but even after a decade, no follow-up. Silent lake figures. At Victoria Lake, a tourist captured footage of two beings that clearly did not match anything known. One figure glided smoothly across the surface of the water, while the other slowly rose from beneath it. Their heads were long, their movements controlled and precise. They moved in perfect rhythm, as if communicating without sound. What stood out most was the lake itself. The water remained completely still. No ripples formed. No splashes followed their movement. How is something like that even possible? Help me with some answers in the comment section below. Secret area leaked footage. Area 51 has always carried a reputation for secrecy, and this sighting only added to it. Someone managed to secretly capture footage of a massive object hovering above the restricted zone. Unlike a plane or rocket, the object moved straight upward, slowly and deliberately, leaving smoky trails behind it. Then it vanished into thick clouds. The way it ascended showed clear control and intent, not mechanical struggle. The clip reinforced a long-held belief that Area 51 is not just a base, but something to do with alien technology. Mysterious figures in forest. While hiking in Cuc Phuong National Park in Vietnam, a man named Dong Huang stepped away from his group and followed a quieter trail deeper into the forest. The area was dense, old, and largely undisturbed. As he moved forward, he noticed something that didn't belong there. They had disproportionately large heads and moved quickly, slipping through the forest in a way that felt coordinated rather than random. Their shapes did not resemble children or known wildlife, and their presence felt deliberate, as if they were aware of being observed. Recognizing the risk, Huang slowly backed away without making sudden movements. He kept his eyes on the figures as they disappeared deeper into the trees. Baffling footage. 3 identical UFOs were seen hovering over an unknown open field. Each one held its position perfectly still, evenly spaced, aligned as if following a precise formation. There was no rotation, no visible propulsion, and no sound. Their placement felt deliberate, as though they were scanning the land below. Encounters like this leave the impression that whatever is above us is no longer just passing through, but preparing to share the space. Military escorting aliens. Footage that spread rapidly online showed a strange craft flying alongside military jet planes, matching their speed and direction with unsettling precision. It was not shaped like any known support aircraft, nor did it behave like one. Instead, it moved in perfect sync with the jets, holding formation. After watching the footage, many people began questioning whether the military was merely observing these beings or actively coordinating with them. When an unknown craft flies in formation with fighter jets, the idea no longer feels far-fetched. Alien cave discovery. Deep inside an Indian cave system, a team of explorers followed strange sounds echoing through the stone in 2016. The deeper they moved, the louder and more focused the noise became, until it led them to a pit hidden in the darkness. Inside it lay a being that looked nothing like any known worldly creature. Its skin appeared green and damaged, its body weak, and its large eyes were wide with what looked like fear. The group immediately began recording, unsure what they were witnessing. They left the cave shaken, convinced they had come across something real, something that did not belong to this world. Blue light above. Highway. Back in 2011, near a small town in Mexico, drivers along the highway noticed something hovering in the sky. A solid object hung completely still, glowing with an intense blue light. It did not move like an aircraft, and it did not react to the growing number of people stopping to stare. The object remained there as if it was watching the area. After a short time, it slowly drifted away and vanished from sight. Those who witnessed it described the moment as unsettling. Aliens in Miami. This isn't the main topic of discussion today, but it is very relevant as it lays the foundation of what's to come and what was caught on camera. After the Miami alien incident, the individual who recorded and leaked the footage was quietly taken by Secret Services. From that moment on, he disappeared completely. The silence from authorities has been absolute. No media coverage, no explanations, no acknowledgement of the event. The lack of response became the most unsettling aspect of the case, fueling speculation about what the footage truly showed. The disappearance suggested that the encounter involved more than what the public was meant to see. Silent transfer. On the coast of Brazil, a group of people were spending a quiet day near the sea when a hovering craft appeared in the sky above them. Panic and disbelief spread through the crowd as they tried to understand what they were seeing. But the most disturbing moment happened on the ground. One man noticed a small alien-like creature standing nearby. As he approached, the being raised its hand and placed it directly on his forehead. The man froze, his posture changing as if his mind was no longer fully his own. After a brief moment, he turned and walked away stiffly, without speaking. The creature vanished, and the craft slowly disappeared into the sky. Alien crash in Nevada. Near Area 51 in Nevada, a local explorer came across a massive, crashed UFO. Above the wreckage, glowing orbs hovered in a pattern that seemed deliberate, as if guarding the scene. The sight was overwhelming, both in scale and in the otherworldly energy. The man did not approach, sensing danger and unpredictability in the situation. Smart move, to be honest. Encounter in Utah. An old video recently surfaced online showing an alien figure in the mountains of Utah. In the background, a UFO hovered nearby, maintaining position as if monitoring the figure's actions. The combination of a humanoid presence and a craft above created an unnerving scene. Viewers speculated on its meaning. Some suggested a hidden alien base in the area. Others proposed it was a first visit to Earth. No further information has been confirmed. Las Vegas intrusion. The Las Vegas incident unfolded shortly after a bright green streak cut across the sky, drawing attention across the area. Within minutes, a family contacted authorities, reporting figures in their backyard that they said were not human. Later footage from the scene revealed a shadowed form lifting itself just above a fence line, partially obscured by a thick, smoky haze. The shape did not move randomly. It appeared cautious, almost deliberate, as if aware it was being observed. More details in another entry are about to come. Let's wait and see if the case was solved. Fargo aerial anomaly. While stopped at a traffic light in Fargo, North Dakota, a driver noticed an unusual light pattern overhead. Multiple lights formed a precise circular shape, and at the start held position with no visible variation. Then they moved as a single unit, maintaining symmetry. There was no engine noise, no visible propulsion, and no deviation in spacing. Months later, no official explanation had been offered, which has started to become a pattern for extraterrestrial sightings. Alien escort, Texas. An unexplainable sight was recorded in the skies over Texas when a tight cluster of bright lights appeared moving together in perfect formation. What drew immediate attention was what followed behind them. Trailing the lights was a solid, metallic craft with a classic structured shape, clearly distinct from the glowing formation ahead of it. The positioning made the situation hard to dismiss. They appeared to be guiding the craft, maintaining distance and alignment as if directing it toward a specific destination. Before anything else could unfold, the footage ended. Whatever operation was taking place happened out of view. Stadium Orb Incident. During a football match in Iran in November 2024, leaked footage captured several glowing orbs hovering above the stadium. The lights moved slowly and in perfect sync, holding formation as they drifted over the field. Players on the ground noticed them. Several players looked upward in clear fear, backing away. Some appeared panicked, moving toward the sidelines as if trying to put distance between themselves and what was overhead. Once the video spread online, attention turned to the behavior of the lights. Their controlled motion above a crowded stadium led many to believe they were advanced aerial craft conducting close-range observation. Mountain landing craft. Near Sedona, Arizona, a passerby recorded an event that later drew serious attention. The landscape was made up of brown, rocky terrain, with patches of green vegetation scattered across the slopes. Against this backdrop, a box-shaped craft descended slowly from above, maintaining balance as it lowered itself toward the ground. Once the craft settled, a hatch opened. A figure emerged that did not resemble any human shape. Its proportions and movement were wrong, mechanical, or unfamiliar, and it wasted no time. The figure moved directly toward the nearby forest and disappeared among the trees. The person filming did not follow out of fear. This did not look like an accident or emergency landing. It looked like an arrival. Forest mimic. A hunter moving through Micho State Forest in Pennsylvania came across something that immediately stood out. On the 11th of February, 2018, along the trail were footprints that did not match any known animal, so he began recording after tracing the prints to their source. Hidden behind a rock was a tiny figure, far smaller than a human, crouched low. What made the situation more disturbing was the way the figure appeared to alter its posture and surface tone to match the rock itself, blending into its surroundings rather than simply hiding behind it. The figure's proportions were wrong. Its head appeared oversized for its body, with an appearance that many later described as alien-like. Online, viewers began referring to it as an extraterrestrial toddler, not as a joke, but because of its size and movement. The hunter kept his distance and left the area soon after. Escaping from facility. Footage said to have been recorded inside a restricted United States facility surfaced showing a non-human being outside a secured laboratory area. The video was dated the 24th of January, 2024. The figure sat on a roadway within the compound, appearing weak and disoriented. It had a large head, a thin frame, and wide, dark eyes. Its posture suggested exhaustion rather than aggression. The source who released the footage stated that the military keeps such beings contained for research and testing purposes, and that this individual had briefly escaped controlled conditions. According to the same source, the escape was short-lived. Personnel quickly located and retrieved the being, returning it to confinement. Nazca cave figure. A group entering the Nazca caves in Peru in search of old treasure encountered something far more disturbing. Inside the cave, resting on a flat rock, was a blue-skinned figure with thin, rigid limbs and proportions unlike any human body. The group recorded only a few seconds before fear forced them to leave. When others returned the following morning, the figure was gone. There were no footprints, no drag marks, and no disturbance to the cave floor. Some believe officials had quietly secured the site overnight. The night visitor. After hearing a strange noise, a man rushed to investigate, expecting to find something damaged or out of place. Instead, he came face to face with a figure that did not belong in any familiar category. Its head was large, its mouth unusually small, and its posture looked threatening. As the man stepped closer, the creature moved toward the wall. Later, neighbors mentioned hearing unusual sounds in the sky earlier that night, like something hovering above the houses. The figure may not have come from nearby at all. It may have arrived from above. Something's in the tunnel. While walking through a quiet park, a man stopped when he noticed movement inside a large tunnel built into the ground. A pale face with long features and oversized eyes slowly peeked out before retreating into the darkness. Startled, he began recording as the same face appeared and disappeared several times, almost deliberately, as if it wanted him to notice. The footage was unclear, but the proportions and movements did not resemble a human. Feeling uneasy, the man stepped back and watched from a distance. Some later suggested the being may have been trapped in the tunnel, signaling for help. Do you think it's wise to help someone like that in a place like that? Watcher in the trees.
What is that? What is that? What is that?
Late at night in the deep woods of Alaska, a woman kept hearing heavy crashes and branches snapping behind her house. But when the sounds grew louder and closer, she grabbed her camera and stepped outside. A tall, alien figure was visible between the trees, standing still and watching her. That much was clear. What wasn't clear was its true intentions. But since it knew where she lived and what she looked like, she made the decision to not return to her home for at least a few days. Glowing figure. Deep in the Brazilian woods, a group of campers witnessed a phenomenon that defied explanation. From a distance, a bright figure emitted an intense light, illuminating the surrounding forest. Its shape was indistinct, more of a glowing form than a body. The campers watched in awe and fear, unsure if this was a creature, a spiritual entity, or something entirely unknown. After some time, the figure moved away, and the area returned to normal. No one approached it directly, which was the smartest thing anyone has ever done. Silent Sky Visitor. A few years ago in China, a local resident spotted an unusual object hovering in the sky above his town. At first glance, it resembled a drone, but the shape and movements made it clear this was not man-made. Then, without warning, it vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. The footage remains a testament to an encounter that defies conventional explanation. Silent intruder. A property owner returning to his remote home in San Clemente, Chile, experienced something that stayed with him long after the encounter ended. On November 20th, 2017, he noticed a figure standing not far from his house. The footage he captured showed a shape that clearly did not belong to any ordinary person. What made the situation worse was the discovery that the being had somehow passed through a locked door without leaving any signs of forced entry. The encounter left the man shaken, unable to explain how it entered or what its purpose had been. Fleet over ocean. In 1994, a group of fishermen ventured out into the open ocean, documenting what they expected to be a routine day. The waters were calm, the sun low, when an unusual light appeared far in the distance. At first, it was just a flicker, but soon multiple flying objects emerged, moving in precise formation across the horizon. These were not drones. Technology at the time could not produce such coordinated motion. Some of the shapes appeared to rise directly from the water, like there was a base in the ocean. Maybe that's why the ocean remains unexplored, and people aren't allowed to do independent exploration. The River Walker. In Bolivia, a video uploaded by Al Rojo Vivo captured a figure moving through a river in a way that defied understanding. The humanoid form appeared to glide across the water, its movements slow but purposeful. The grainy footage only added to the unsettling effect. obscuring details while emphasizing the figure's unnatural presence. Some observers suggested a hidden craft might be nearby, perhaps linked to the figure's appearance. Others believed it could be a lone visitor, alien or otherwise, exploring the river undetected. The clip remains mysterious, its origins and purpose unresolved. Backyard glider.
This could be a space alien.
Oh, this could be an alien.
In California, a woman believed her backyard to be quiet and uneventful until she heard strange noises echoing through the night. Her Ring camera recorded what appeared to be a tall, unusual figure moving silently past her property. Even though the full body was never fully visible, the oversized head and elongated movements made the encounter deeply disturbing. The footage remains one of the most unsettling backyard encounters. Pyramid visitor. Above the ancient Cholula pyramids, witnesses reported a disc-shaped UFO hovering silently over the site. The object remained in view long enough for multiple people to notice its shape and movement. While UFO sightings alone are rare, the presence of one over a historic monument added an unsettling layer of intrigue. Observers began questioning whether these ancient structures hold some connection to extraterrestrial activity, or if the craft's appearance was purely coincidental. Las Vegas figures. Strange lights swirling over the Las Vegas sky turned an ordinary night into something far more disturbing. A police officer's body cam recorded a bright green streak moving overhead. Minutes later, a family reported something far more alarming. Angel Kenmore claimed he saw two towering figures hiding near a forklift behind the property. They stood between 8 and 10 feet tall, greenish in tone, and completely still in a way that did not feel human. When crime scene analyst Scott Roeder reviewed the footage frame by frame, he stated that the movements visible appeared genuine. That assessment gave the family's account a level of seriousness that could not be easily dismissed. Case hasn't been solved yet. Austin Disc. A construction worker in Austin was taking a short break on a rooftop when something in the sky caught his attention. Moving calmly between the clouds was a silvery, disc-shaped craft. It made no sound, showed no wings, no engines, and didn't move like any aircraft he had ever seen. Officials have offered no explanation, but the footage spoke for itself. The burning craft. In another disturbing incident, a man recorded a huge circular object flying low over buildings. Sparks and flames trailed behind it as it moved across the sky, struggling to stay airborne. The object looked damaged, like a massive UFO that had a mechanical failure mid-flight. Within minutes, reports flooded in from across the town. Dozens of residents claimed they saw the same burning craft flying overhead. Eventually, it disappeared into the distance, leaving no wreckage behind, and complete silence from news outlets and the government. Shimmering orb. In New Jersey, a resident scanning the night sky through his telescope noticed a bright white orb hovering low above the horizon. It remained completely silent, holding position long enough for him to attach a camera and begin recording. Through the magnified view, the object appeared perfectly round, surrounded by a soft, shimmering field that looked almost like a protective layer. The glow did not behave like light reflection or atmospheric distortion. It stayed consistent as the object moved slowly. When the footage reached a wider audience, local officials dismissed it as an atmospheric issue. That explanation did little to explain the visible field around the object. Forest geometric craft. During a routine patrol in a quiet forest, a forest officer encountered something that did not belong in the sky. Hanging silently above the trees was a massive triangular craft. The officer felt as if the object was observing the area below, which unnerved him, so he left the area to save himself. After reporting the sighting, additional officers searched the forest and surrounding areas. No launch site, no landing zone, and no explanation was ever found. The mountain disc.
What is that, dude?
While traveling through a rocky mountain region, a tourist noticed a classic disc-shaped craft hovering just above the slope. It stayed visible for only a few seconds, long enough to confirm its shape and stillness. Then, the disc accelerated straight upward at a speed that defied anything known to aviation. It vanished in an instant, leaving no trail behind. Hidden mothership. What first appeared as a soft, beautiful glow behind heavy clouds quickly turned unsettling for the people watching from below. Hanging silently above them was a massive craft, far larger than anything meant to fly in Earth's skies. Witnesses described the clouds physically tearing open, revealing what looked like a colossal mothership suspended in place. Soon after, officials enforced a complete media blackout. When a statement was finally released, the lights were blamed on an undisclosed atmospheric testing device that had lost control. For those who saw the structure clearly outlined in the sky, that explanation didn't make sense and was clearly a cover-up. Alien as a stalker. In Guadalajara, Mexico, a man looking out from his window noticed movement where there should have been none. Across the street stood an abandoned, half-built structure that had sat unfinished for years, avoided by locals, and assumed to be empty. Walking along the balcony was a pale figure with unnaturally long limbs. The man stood frozen, watching as the figure crossed the open space without hesitation. Whether the structure had been left unfinished because of the creature's presence, or whether it had later claimed the site as shelter, was unclear. Abandoned house entity. In Peru, an abandoned house long avoided by locals became the center of attention after a man recorded inside its empty rooms. During the recording, a gray, hairless figure briefly appeared, staring directly into the camera. Its eyes were dark and hollow. As the man attempted to zoom in, the footage violently glitched and stopped. The recording ended there. Residents in the area maintained that no one lived in the house, yet lights were seen flickering inside every few nights. The recurring activity suggested the presence was not temporary. The structure appeared to be serving as a concealed shelter, which isn't new for such creatures. Construction site intruder. Workers renovating an unfinished building noticed movement near one of the corners. At first glance, it appeared to be a white skull, with hollow eyes peering from behind a wall. When the workers stepped closer, the shape revealed itself fully. It was not just a skull. A full skeleton-like figure crawled forward on its hands, its movement deliberate and unnatural. When one worker began recording, the figure advanced toward him, which frightened everyone. The workers fled immediately and later agreed never to return to the site. The building has remained unfinished as workers refuse to go near it. Highway stranger. A truck's dashcam recently recorded a sight that immediately went viral. The driver had just passed the First National Bank of Central Texas along the Corsicana Highway when a strange greenish humanoid appeared at the roadside. Its body was unnaturally tall and thin, with proportions unlike any human being. Viewers online were left questioning its origin. Did it belong to this world at all, or had it somehow crossed into ours? Comment your answers below. Silent observer. In a remote area far from city lights, a man noticed a glowing disc hovering silently in the night sky. Its size and clean shape made it clear this was no plane or helicopter. He managed to record the sighting, and the footage suggested intent rather than coincidence. The way the craft lingered gave the impression it was observing the land below, possibly mapping terrain or monitoring isolated human activity. Today's subscribers' pick shows a new alien found near Miami. The Miami Mall alien situation never got answered, and looking at the videos, the number of police cars called for a simple teenage brawl just didn't make sense. The truth was that people saw a strange figure wandering around, and the moment that happened, chaos. Folks rushed out, and police immediately blocked the entire area. They sealed everything so tight that locals didn't even realize how or when that creature was taken away. All we have is one tiny clip giving a quick peek at the figure. But a few weeks ago, at Enchanted Forest, Elaine Gordon Park, another alien was caught on camera. On 11th December, a man launched his thermal drone late at night. As the camera scanned the trees, a strange figure came into view. It had a humanoid body, long, stretched limbs, and a tail moving slowly behind it. The clip lasted only 10 seconds, yet it felt enough to leave a heavy question hanging. Was this one of the aliens that landed in Miami a year ago? Or is this a totally different alien? Let me know your thoughts about the Miami Mall alien in the comments section below. And thank you for watching.